I, H-I, Holy Instant. That's a Course in Miracles term, which I've been practicing a lot lately. I get a little crazy and I just go, I. I'm talking to the angels, my dead relatives all the time. I love that stuff. So you'll see there's quotations on the wall all over the place from A Course of Love. I just want to say that I don't know if you know the Course in Miracles. It's written by Jesus, as far as any of us can tell. I was raised Jewish. I'm like reading this book and going, oh, it's Jesus. I can tell this is Jesus. Oh my God, who in my family can I talk to about this? And this was the Jesus I always knew had to exist. So I call him Yeshi. So during my talk, I will probably refer to Yeshua was his Aramaic name. And so to make him feel more close to me, I call him Yeshi. And I love that you're here, Chloe. Thanks so much. Chloe is a huge part of my healing. So when I was reading the Course in Miracles, I lived in a community for it. Do you know Alan Cohen? Yeah, Alan started a community across the river from where I lived, and people came. He's one of the first writers about the Course, and he came. He gathered a whole bunch of us from all over the country. None of whom we were all so ego-ridden. It was insane. We were not ready to live together, but we did it somehow. And I embroidered this book cover for my Course, which you see here is the love. And then outside of it, the blue, I don't know if you all can see it out there, is the illusion outside of love, which isn't real. Yeah, the Course in Miracles really saved my life. What the Course in Miracles did for me was it said a few things that I needed to hear. One, we're all God. Nothing isn't God. Everything's God. If it ain't love, it's fear, and fear ain't real. That's simple. It also said to me, we're all going home. Doesn't matter how many lifetimes you take to do it, we're going. Boom. Simple. That's what I needed, was simple. It's not an easy book to read, but the message is simple. I still love my favorite lessons from the Course in Miracles. I've done them 4 times. I am under no laws but God's. Oh boy, that gave me a lot of freedom, And I also love, there's the simple one, there's nothing to fear, which saved my life when I was suicidal. I've been suicidal throughout my life, but I've never made an attempt, thanks to Jesus. And that card, I got the cards, nothing to fear, sat in front of my bed those 4 years. And I read that every morning and had to remind myself that killing myself was ridiculously illusionary to do that. Also, my favorite quote from both books is, all of your past except its beauty is gone and nothing is left but a blessing. I give these to everybody and I brought a whole bunch for you. Okay. And if you out there want one, I'll give some to Susan and you can get one somehow. This talk, what happened was when I read, then I reached a point where the Course in Miracles was too much for, it was hard for me. The language was hard. And I love the workbook, the Teachers for God book. Damn, that's cute. That's really brilliant, the questions. But the text was hard for me. And I reached a point where I couldn't really get with it anymore. And I was waiting for something, but I didn't know what. What was hard for me was that it kept saying, forgive, forgive, forgive. And I'm a rageaholic. I go to Rageaholics Anonymous. I grew up with tremendous amount of rage in my body. And I wasn't ready to forgive. The best I could do was forgive myself for not being ready to forgive. And so I knew I needed something else. And then I met someone who told me about the Course of Love. And I just ate it up. I loved it. And what I noticed about the Course of Love was there's a lot of poetic language, there's moments of poetic language, metaphors. He uses metaphors beautifully. He's not easy. He's tough in the book. There's points where he's like, stop that. Stop doing ba, 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 ba. Do this. He's very direct. He gives you very direct things to do. So at some point, I read something that he wrote in the book that helped me to make my transition. He wrote, A Course in Miracles and A Course of Love work hand in hand because the change of thinking taught within A Course of Miracles was a change of thinking about yourself. It attempted to dislodge the ego mind that has provided you with an identity that you but think you are. A Course of Love then followed in order to reveal to you who you truly are. So that really helped me. He says, while you continue to act within the world as who you think you are rather than as who you are, you have not integrated these two pieces of learning. That helped me, to make that transition. And then I read something else that really helped me. He talks about what A Course of Love isn't. I needed to hear this. I really did. This is not a self-help course, but just the opposite. This course has stated time and time again that you cannot learn on your own, and that resigning as your own teacher is the only way to learn a new curriculum. This course will not call you to effort of any kind. Oh, goody. I don't want that. Thank you. It will not tell you to leave behind your addictions, of which I have so many. I've been to 18 different 12-step groups. Or go on a diet or a fast, including Overeaters Anonymous. It will not even tell you to be kind. It does not tell you to be responsible and does not chide your irresponsibility. It does not claim that you were once bad, but that by following these tenets, you can become good. It gives no credence and no blame to any past cause for your depression, anxiety, meanness, illness, or insanity. It merely calls you to sanity by calling you to let go of illusion in favor of truth. It asks not for monks or clones. It asks not that you give up anything but illusion, which is the giving up of nothing. That really helped me. Then now I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life. I don't remember much from my childhood. It sucked. I was bullied and teased every day. And by the age of 9, I was suicidal. It was a secret I kept till I was 21, and I could no longer keep it. So I read this lovely little quote here. What comes forth for healing needs but a nod of love from your heart, a passing glance of compassion, the merest moment of reflection before it will dissipate and show a new reflection. So as I said to you, I was a rageaholic from as far as I can remember, back to 2 years old. And I took it out only really on the people I was closest to, my family and then my husband. And then I read this, and this all really helped with that. No atoms do battle. No molecules compete for dominance. The universe is a dance of cooperation. You are but asked to rejoin the dance. The world, the universe, is your partner. And only now do you hear the music that brings grace to all your movements, all your actions, all your expressions of love. There were so many places in this book that said to me, it's okay that you have this problem, this issue. It's okay. I love you. I, Jesus, love you. And you get to love you. I'm giving you permission to love you. It's the only way. So that was, I've been healing a lot from this book with that. So anyway, in 1980, I couldn't take the suicidal ideation anymore, and I put myself in a hospital. And back then, that wasn't exactly popular. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and they said, that's why you're suicidal. And I said, no, that could be part of it. I'll admit that, because when I don't take my meds, I do notice I get more so. I've experimented with that. However, I know it's a spiritual thing ultimately. I know it was a lack of connection to God. I felt bad and I felt evil when I was suicidal. But here is a beautiful thing that Yeshe speaks of. Your feelings and truth come from love. Your response to them is what is guided by fear. Even feelings of destruction and violence come from love. You are not bad, and you have no feelings that can be labeled so. Each feeling requires that you enter into a relationship with it, for it is there that you will find love. Every joining, every entering into is preceded by a suspension of judgment. So I needed to stop judging myself. One day I was screaming at my husband on the toilet, screaming at him. And I just looked at him, I go, I love myself while I'm raging at you. And the two of us just started laughing. We got it, you know? So that was a big thing for me, was to really forgive that. And this book really talks a lot about feelings. So I asked, Yeshi, why did you do that? Why didn't you talk about the feelings first and forgiveness after? And what I got was it was important to learn that process of forgiveness first in the Course in Miracles before I could really delve into the issue of the feelings. So I did a lot of study groups for A Course in Miracles in my area. And that began to teach me the process of working with others. So here's Yeshi. You are God's harmony, God's expression, God's melody. You and all that exists within you form the orchestra and chorus of creation. You might think of your time here as that of being apprentice musicians. You must learn to relearn what you have forgotten so that you can once again join the chorus, so that you once again can be in harmony with creation, so that you can express yourself with the relationship of unity that is the whole of the choir and the orchestra. So these early Course in Miracles communities started teaching that, and living in that community, it's really challenging me to give up my ego, especially when I started cooking for 23 people and I hate to cook. That was funny. That was really funny. And Alan Cohen, I didn't want to do the Course in Miracles. I had a friend who wouldn't leave me alone about it, and finally just gave in. So here is a really beautiful quote that it's just short. You are your own wings, your relationships, but the breeze that keeps you afloat. So that's what Alan, yes, you are your own wings, your relationships are but the breeze that keep you afloat. So in the Course in Miracles, I learned a lot about me and my ego. In this book, I started learning about how to work in relationship. It talks a lot about relationship in there. Then I found Pebble Hill Church in 1990. That's where I grew up. I was a babe in the woods when I got there. I was, other than having this Course in Miracles, my ego was still flying all over the place. And those people really brought me, they let me be creative there. That's what it was. I grew, my creativity, my performing there really helped me to grow. And I met my husband there. I had been, up until then, I had been working in special ed. I had been working with addicts. I had done work in prisons, all based on my experience with mental health. I have never been to jail, but my God, I had feared getting, I've had the police called on me in my rage moments. So they never came. The 2 times it happened, they didn't come. And I still think that's God, you know? I relate a lot to prisoners. I'm right now working to get, I have a job, but it hasn't, the money thing isn't settled yet, working in a forensic center at a state hospital, Trenton State Hospital. And these are people who have both are incarcerated with crimes and mental illness. And this is going to be the challenge of my life. I don't even know what to say. I'm scared, I'll tell you, but I want to do this. My husband was an amazing, beautiful man. Some people here know him. He was also afflicted with mental health issues, and he was born with a lot of physical issues. But I found something that really reminded me of his relationship with me. It was a holy relationship filled with holes. He was a rageaholic too. You know, Dan, man, we were doing all our 12 steps together, you know, it's like, but this is about the gardener. The holy relationship is what you're called to cultivate as a gardener cultivates her garden. The gardener knows that although the plant exists fully realized within its seed, it also needs the relationship of earth and water and light and air. The gardener knows that tending the garden will help it to flourish and show its abundance. The gardener knows she is part of the relationship that is the garden. A true gardener believes not in bad seeds. A true gardener believes not that she is in control. A true gardener accepts the grandeur that is the garden and finds it beautiful to behold. He found my beauty. He reflected it so big time. I couldn't deny it anymore, you know, and he took it and he got creative with me, started miming with me. He was a natural performer. He was a comedian, and he just helped me to flourish, and he built my business. creative crisis care. He put it on the map because I didn't know what to do with a computer. Now I can do my emails, that's about it. And he made this thing happen. He called people and got us jobs. He really helped. He started the show, The Wizard of Iz was first with him. He was the wizard. Then my parents died, 4 years apart. And it finally really caught up with me. I loved them dearly. Also, holy relationships with holes. And I became extremely suicidal after that. A miracle I haven't made an attempt. And for 4 years straight, all I heard in my head was the word suicide, repeating at the speed of light. Couldn't shut it up. I would get maybe 2 hours of sleep at night if I could. And that wasn't lasting well, so I had to finally put myself in a hospital. And my husband started going through it at the same time. We were taking turns going in and out of hospitals. He was going through it because he felt so guilty about me. And I came out of it. And I have really done he and I did very well after we came through this. And I said to him, I think we have to work together in this field for this marriage to work. I feel like that's what this marriage is, that God brought us together for this. So in 2013, someone told me about A Course of Love. He and I had done lessons from the Course in Miracles together, my third time. And that was just beautiful. So it took me 6 months to read this, which was fast for me. It's 600 something pages. At the end of it, I was so taken by it. I laid on the floor and cried for like a half hour, an hour straight. I had nothing in my body. I couldn't sit up. I was so very, very moved by the power of this book. In our guided meditation, I'm going to read to you, I'm going to incorporate the final words in the book, some of the final words that did it to me, that really took me. I had never been in awe of anything like that, having read this book. So the Course in Miracles, I say, pulled me into reality of love, but this really pulled me into my heart. He talks about wholeheartedness, the taking of the mind and the heart and pulling them together. It's a big term in this book. And that's really what started happening for me. So my heart just split wide open. And I found this lovely quote about that. When you believe that this is so, and that what you give away you will receive in truth, you will throw open the doors to this safe house, and all the joy you have kept from yourself will return. A great exchange will happen as a powerful wind sweeps through your heart, and all the love you have denied the world will be released. It will flow in every direction, leaving not a corner of the universe untouched. In an instant, the eternal will be upon you. Death will be but a dream, as the wind of life, reunited with itself, gathers from directions that are beyond direction and breathes life back into what has so long been locked away. After this, a gentle breeze will come, never again to leave you, as life breathes as one. And then this next quote this is the St. Francis kind of thing, the lilies and all of that. Really, St. Francis is the way I found Yeshe. Actually, well, no, I found him through A Course in Miracles, but then I saw the movie Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon, which my favorite movie. I urge you to see, from I think 1973. It's about St. Francis. Zeffirelli did it. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous film. And through St. Francis's love of Jesus, then I fell in love with Jesus. That really did it for me. So he says, Yeshe says, ages have passed since creation began. And this is where it gets a little tough. And you have still not learned the lesson of the birds of the air or the flowers of the field. 2,000 years have passed since you were told to observe this lesson. The lilies of the field neither sow nor reap, and yet they are provided for. The birds of the air live to sing a song of gladness. So do you. And then I liked this. You realize not that if you were to stop and take your brother's hand, the race course would become a valley full of lilies, and you would find yourself on the other side of the finish line, able at last to rest. Now, the juiciest part of this book, The Course of Love, is the final part. It's called 40 Days and 40 Nights. And what she's doing is he's inviting you to be on a mountaintop with him, like he was for 40 days and 40 nights in the desert. But he says to you, you're going to continue your life. You're not going to sit up here only. You're going to be down there. You're going to do a dual trip here. You're going to be down there and up here with me. And I just imagined myself up there. I do it a lot in my meditation. I just start out seeing us with a fire in front of us and we're cooking fish, you know, and we're just chatting. I chat with him a lot. He is my best friend now. And I can even talk a little bit about it with my family, a little bit. In fact, I took my mother into therapy to talk to her about it because I was moving into this Course in Miracles community. And I'll never forget, she says to me, honey, Jesus was a beautiful man. Did you ever read the Sermon on the Mount? No, I hadn't, but she blew me away. I'll always remember that. Hope I do. So I finished reading this book and I'm like, who wrote this? I gotta get to this person. Who was this? So I find in the back, Mari Peron's, she received it, is her address. So I write a 24-page letter. I don't know what I wrote, a huge letter with pictures of my crazy bohemian-looking house and everything. And I never heard back for a long time. And then I get a letter from her or something, an email or something, I don't know what. She says, sorry, I put it in my bathroom. I was hoping to read it in my bathroom and I forgot. It got piled under stuff. So she and I started a beautiful relationship. My husband and I went into New York to meet her at the end of a Course in Miracles conference. And they just sat there and talked baseball. So cute. She's so down to earth. She calls herself, what does she call herself? Not average, that's not the word she uses, but you know, she's a simple woman. So then she gifted me her books, a trilogy of books that she wrote before the Course came to her. And she was working with two other women at a college in Minnesota. And they became her two best friends. And two of them were pregnant at the same time. And Mary, one of them, lost her child after 5 weeks and 7 surgeries. And her daughter's name was Grace. And the books, the trilogy is just the writings of their talking to their angels, their dialogues with their angels. And when I got to the middle book is from Mary, not Mari. And when I got to the part about Grace dying, I was in the bathtub, and again, I just fell apart because I have this judgment that there's too many people in this world. Overpopulation bothers me more than anything. And this story about this child, that whole way, forget it. You know, what is Einstein says, a baby is God's opinion that the world should continue. You know, is that fabulous? And I needed to get that. I really needed to get that. And Mary helped me with that. So I had to get to Mary. So I found Mary through Mari. Mary and I became very close and a constant emailing back and forth. And this wild stuff started happening. In the book, she talks about how after Grace died, the computer wouldn't, she turned the computer off, but it wouldn't shut off. The lights were going on and off. All kinds of weird things were happening. And when I got to that place in the book, and it started happening to me, I kept pulling the angel card, Grace, out of the whole angel pile card. I kept seeing the word Grace everywhere. My computer would do weird, it was a new computer and it would do weird stuff and I'd take it to Staples, they'd go, it's fine. The lights would start doing, I'd turn off the lights and then I'd come back, it was on. And I knew Grace was reaching out to me. So that pulled Mary and I very close together. So I had to go out there. It was my Mecca, my pilgrimage to Mecca. And I met them and stayed with them. And it was just, I stayed in the room where Mari typed up did this, where she had it come through her. And I saw the original typing in the closet there, all the records. And I just felt so blessed. And I came home. And sometime after that, my husband passed away from natural causes that he was born with. And this is the quote. This is like my second favorite quote in the book that really helped me to deal with that. It's about not accepting that you don't accept. realize that your desire for your life to be different, your desire for your unhappiness to be gone, is very unlikely in truth to stem from the details of your life. Even so, you are not called to accept what you do not like, but to accept that you don't like whatever it is that you don't like. Then and only then will you have accepted how you feel. Can you truly respond? Can you respond truly? Only when you have accepted how you feel do you quit labeling good or bad. Only then can you deal with anything from a place of peace. So that really, saved me too. That really helped me so much. So now, 6 years after Phil is gone, I had to learn to live on my own. Although my sister, she's a psychiatrist, she has helped me a lot. She bought me a condo, helps me quite a bit. But I love what he does he talks a lot about the caterpillar and the butterfly. So this is just kind of, there's a couple of quotes here that kind of talk about where I'm at right now. You might think about the caterpillar as the unaltered self with which you began your journey. You might think of your body as the cocoon, the carrier of your potential. You might think of the butterfly as your spirit, revealed only after the potential has matured and been released. There is, in other words, a necessity for each step in the accomplishment of wholeness, even while wholeness has always existed as potential. To attempt to remain within the cocoon of the body, to attempt to contain the spirit within that cocoon, is to attempt the impossible. And I love that, yes, she talks a lot about it's already accomplished. If you can picture it now, because all there is now, it's done. Whatever you got in your mind to create, the album, it's done. Oops, oh, I thought I hit the camera. So, and finally, I love this quote. As you move toward wholeness, all the pieces of all that we have talked about will begin to fit together. A whole will form within your mind, much as if you have been following a thread and now can see the tapestry. This tapestry will bear the mark of your experiences and will be like no other. The thread represents your own journey of truth to your own journey to wholeness. I'm going to read a poem that I wrote when I was done. Okay, and then we're going to do the guided imagery. Okay, or the question. This is called Meet and Merge. I started a process where I merge with people, and I started doing it with Jesus. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not it. I have copies of it over there if you want it. I met you on the mountaintop, you whom they call Lord. I gave you all the time I had, all that I could afford. For 40 days and 40 nights, we had this gorgeous dialogue. We spoke of things unspoken and witnessed lifting of the fog. Time quickly evaporated right before my eyes as you embraced my agony, my fearfulness and cries. We shared a space beyond all doubts, questions and learning, where love of all, love of God is the only yearning. This wondrous magic then slowly occurred as you erased the illusion of wounds I thought I'd endured. When the time came for descent, I was my spacious self, leaving behind self-destructive toys on the proverbial shelf. We'd met and merged into a oneness so grand, tears seared my grateful cheek, I could barely stand. I lay myself upon the ground and held my sleeping dog. These tears of joy were evidence of no ordinary dialogue. No longer are we student and teacher, no more need for the ego-slaying preacher. Now we walk hand in hand, side by side, bestest buddies on a yet-to-be-created ride. No more awe, no more glory, just the unified author of an unwritten story. Fortunately, we know the ending, the bosom of God in the ultimate blending.